let's discuss these particular icons here. This here I gave you a brief look at before. If you click this icon here, it provides you a print preview. It provides you an image of how the invoice will appear when it's printed. Now, you will see that I've been messing around in the invoice, and you see I've got a lot of information down the bottom here that doesn't appear on this screen. You wonder, well, where'd that information come from? That information comes from the default settings. If I go back to the main menu, you have a series of default settings you can set up for your invoices. If I click Setup, look up the top here, it says Invoice Defaults. This actually goes for all of the quotes, purchase orders, etc. If I click Invoice Defaults, I can now put in a series of defaults that occur for all my invoices. So on my invoices, I can include a default phrase, which is that information that you see scribbled on the bottom of that invoice. I've been mucking around here, so obviously it's all junk, but I might have it here and go, okay, payment made to account number 81, whatever the account number is. Please pay, please make payment. But of course you can put a lot of information here. If you have a particular business that has terms and conditions, and you might have 4 or 5 lines that you'd like to appear at the bottom of your invoice, you can actually put that on there. And so this, you just keep pressing enter. It's much like the notes box on your invoice screen, and it will allow you to enter whatever information you want here, and that will be included on the bottom of all your invoices. Now, if I close this off here, this provides an example of what you could put there. Here you have a change signature line. If I click this icon here, at the bottom of all your invoices, you will see that it says for and on behalf of, and it gives you your name. Now, you might not want anything on that. You might say, no, I don't actually want that there. If you don't want that, just delete that. Just leave this line blank, and all you'll see is your business name. Or you might want something else there. You might say for and on behalf of is a bit old-fashioned, and you might want something else put there. So it's your choice. Invoice headers, you can change in the description area, the title. You might not want that to be called quantity or item or unit price. You might want it to be called something else. You can change that, what that's called there. These are margin settings. This here talks about this. You can change the top and bottom margin of your invoices. Allows you to put more information on there. At the top here we see change invoice title. This really only exists for those living in Australia, because in Australia this sales tax invoices aren't allowed to be called invoice. They have to be called tax invoice. So if you live in Australia, you have to select, or you have to change that to appear as a tax invoice, not as the word invoice. Right, I don't think there's much else I need to discuss there. And all these other defaults are identical to, or similar to this here, okay? Now, where was this auto uppercase? Before I discussed the auto uppercase, over here, this is the auto uppercase setting. If I click that, currently the auto uppercase is switched on. It gives you all the information down here about it. If I click it, now it's off. So that's by default, it's now off on all invoices, all quotes, all purchase orders. But I'm going to turn it on, back on, because that's what I had it set to. So there's the auto uppercase there. Right, if I jump back into that invoice for now, just to finish this video off, and we look back up the top here, if I click this print preview again, you will see that that's the information I just entered in down the bottom there. So that's going to appear on all my invoices. Now, I'm making this go bigger and smaller because I'm clicking this with my left mouse button. So as I click this with my left mouse button, this comes bigger and smaller. Right, up the top here, you will see this is the close icon where you close this screen, and you can actually print this invoice direct from here. If you are previewing an invoice to make sure that you provide it and it looks good and there's the information that you want on it, you can just click print and it will print directly to whatever your default printer is. Whatever the printer setting is over here, well, whatever your default printer setting is, okay? If I never switch it, I'm always printing to my PDF, so I just leave my default printer setting of what it is. But whatever your printer setting is, that's where it's going to print to. So if you need to change it, you have to jump back out of that print preview and change it, okay? Now, one more thing I want to point out. This here is a bit annoying going up here pressing this. I don't use that on the left-hand side to close. I actually, as I'm previewing, because I've already got my mouse in this area, I right click. If you click your right mouse button, it will come up with this pop-up. So if I right click anywhere, I can now left click on close and it closes it. Do you see that? Right click on the screen and I can print it or I can close it. To me, I find that much easier.